Welcome to the latest edition of the FuturePrint Podcast. And this one is a little different. It's going to be a visual podcast as much as anything else because the theme is so visual. And while I'm sure we all have wonderful imaginations, and these guys that I'm about to introduce, very articulate and descriptive, it's really important to see this because this is about the creative impact that this amazing technology has. And I'm really happy to have with me today Abel Sanchez and Guy Bibi from HP Industrial Print. Welcome to the FuturePrint Podcast, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Marcus.
much.
And the theme of this is called Stand Out. And I think great theme and a great title. The world we live in is incredibly fast moving. It's incredibly VUCA and all of these sort of things. But we think, and I think the theme of this will come through this discussion really, is that if we leverage this technology, if we invest time and creativity, we can help our customers really reach people and solve some of the sort of problems that we have. We're very distracted, aren't we? There's so many messages out there, not all of them very good. But I think with this imagination combined with technology, creativity, and a willingness to try new things, there's some huge gains that brands, FMCG brands and retailers can really benefit from. So before we get into the kind of the real detail of this, gentlemen, would you mind please just giving us a little bit of introduction about yourselves, perhaps starting with Abel, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Thank you, Marcus, for having us. Good morning, Guy, as well. So I'm Abel. I lead what we call the Brands and Agencies Innovation Platform for HP at a AMEA level. So my role, I would say, it's to humanize the technology, meaning to translate all of those technical benefits of our technology into the language of brand owners and agencies. So you'll see today, Marcus, and our audience, that my conversation, it's not about, pages per minute, color management, primers, and so on. It's more about ideas, about campaigns, about marketing effectiveness, about personalization, and about how brands can embed, packaging or, the physical experience in general as part of their media mix.
Yeah.
And this is my role here in the company.
Brilliant. So yeah, it's deploying both the creativity and the technology to work incredible, almost creating a profile and then reaching people on both an emotional and practical level. So very exciting. Thanks for that, Guy. Could you explain, introduce yourself, how you work? You two work
Yes,
together, but you do slightly different things, don't you?
right. So Abel and I kind of collaborate together on the brands and agencies side. But my role is I am the product manager of the Creativity Power Pack, basically the tools that are developed in HP to tackle all of these brand engagements, the needs that the brands have. How do we create and tell the story, engage consumers, get more ROI from the packaging with our set of tools? So I also in the development side, but I also, as a designer myself, I also help the brands with ideation and how to implement or maybe redevelop the tools to answer to their needs. So that's where Abel and I collaborate. And I think that throughout this conversation, you will see really how tight this collaboration is and how we complement one another with the needs of the brands.
Yeah. And I guess, well, since I joined the digital printing industry many years ago, the issue back then was that the possibilities were incredibly exciting, but there's a little bit of a gap between the comprehension of those possibilities and actually what brands understand they can do. So it's quite exciting for them. It's a bit of a revelation, I think, you're about to give us here, really. But why do many brands still lack awareness of
You're
the
absolutely
potential?
right, Marcus.
Yeah, why is that?
I usually start my sessions, my master classes or my educational sessions with brands and agencies asking them a question, which is from 1 to 10, how much they would say that they know about digital print. And I have to tell you that usually the answer to that question is 1, 2, 3.
Hmm.
I think that what happens is that most of the times our customers, meaning I mean print service providers, they speak with the purchasing or procurement department of a brand, and their only KPI is cost, right? But when I have this conversation with marketers, the conversation switches to value creation, right? So here the idea, and I use always this slide to explain them the benefits of digital print. I always use a very simple example to simplify it, which is imagine that you are preparing a PowerPoint presentation to someone to explain what I don't know, your brand is. You decide to explain your story in 3 different slides. You bring different content, different images, different text, and in the moment that you push print in your laptop at home or your office, these 3 slides will come out of your printer basically immediately. So HP digital print works exactly the same way, but at scale, at industrial scale. And brand can get amazing benefits out of that, which is the first one is speed to market. You'll see right now in the slide, speed to market, so they can save from 4 to 6 weeks in this process. They don't need to create the plates, the cylinders, and so on. The setup of the press is much faster. The second benefit is variable data. So every single unit in the same print run, so like the same example of the PowerPoint presentation, Guy, if you can click, please. Can be different, okay, variable graphics. And here, the amazing thing, I would say that most importantly, is that they don't need to hire an army of designers to create those variable designs. They can delegate this task to a software that we own, and Guy is the master and commander of it, which is called SmartStream Designer, okay, to bring personalization or personalized storytelling at scale. Then linear inventory, so they can print what they want when they want it. They have lower, minimum order quantities, and of course, color consistency and quality. Again, I'm not a technical guy. I'm not gonna go into this aspect of the technology, but again, it's amazing. This benefit for brands. So this is a simple way how I explain them. And when marketers understand this, that they can launch innovation faster into the market, that they can personalize their pack, they can become more sustainable, and so on and so forth, then it's again a value creation conversation.
Yeah, anything you wanted to add to that, Guy, at all? I mean, it's that coalescence. I guess both of you are an example of that. You've got a blend of the creativity and the technical, and that's kind of when amazing things happen, isn't it? Where you have creative ideas and you can realize them quickly, and you're not weighed down by perhaps more the analog model of doing things, where it's just too expensive to do, too slow, and that. It's kind of like that coalescence of the two is where really exciting things can happen, right?
Yes, definitely, definitely. I think that it's just as an anecdote, I was invited to an open house where one of our customers brought all of his brands to an open house, and we created an idea and we printed it on the same day. But in reality, it took 1 hour, 1 hour to define the idea, to generate the images, to do them as variable data, to impose and compose them, to generate the PDFs, rip them and print them. 1 hour. So imagine a brand seeing something like that. It is something that they are not used to. They are used to plate making and color consistency or color management needs.
Absolutely.
Seeing this live really is unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's exciting. It just accelerates creativity, doesn't it? Accelerates time to market. You get to test ideas quickly. You can change direction. You don't invest too much in production when perhaps it might not been quite right. It could have been better. So I think it feels like it's hugely liberating, really, for people as well, if they're able to discover this. So I guess, as I said in the introduction, that we all love social media. We all love the possibilities of online stuff, and it's exciting and so on. But there has been a bit of a re-emergence, hasn't there, of the physical experience within marketing and branding. And so how has that re-emergence really impacted marketing and branding, that kind of need for physical?
Yeah, so actually this is very interesting. Always when I show when I go to brands, when I show this to agencies, a lot of times I'm being asked, we understand that HP develops magnificent technological marvels as the digital presses, but why do they invest in creativity? What is the end goal of that? And I think that this is where what you're saying comes to fruition, because I usually show them this graph, and it's a very simple question. Where do you feel more like yourself, when you're online or when you're offline? But you can see the trends. The trends have changed. So 75% of boomers feel more like themselves when they are offline.
Mm,
But today, Gen Zs and even millennials spend most of their days online. They feel more respected and they feel more like themselves when they are online. Now, brands understand that in order to market to these groups of people, they need to change their language. Why? Because these Gen Zs and millennials may speak English like the boomers, but in reality, it's not the same language. They do not have the same needs. They do not purchase the same way. They do not have the same expectations from the brands, and they do not have the same loyalty to the brand. And then, if the brands understand that the money, the actual dollars, move from the boomers towards these millennials and Gen Zs, they understand that this change in language is crucial. And that is why, to the brands, there is something that is called the SADS acronym. And the world is changing for them, and they're facing new challenges like saturation, which means that you are bombarded with marketing messages. Now, I always ask my the audience when I present this, how many commercials do you remember from the social media that you have been at? Maybe Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. Usually, people can remember one, but most of them can't remember none of them
mm,
because we filter it out. Our minds are just filtering it out. But
mm,
if you take the same package and you pour your milk every day, eventually the message on the package is coming through. So the medium becomes the message, right? But in a different way, maybe. Then you have anxiety, which means that because we are online, we are more aware about everything that happens in the world. So you can talk about wars and about Black Lives Matter and women's rights and LGBTQ. The brands are expected to take a stand, and you can see the time to market getting shorter. Here as well, digital print can assist. We can print whatever we want, wherever we want, and you'll see that. Then you have distrust, which means that we believe less. Everything, it doesn't matter who says something, we don't believe in unless it's someone that we know from our close environment. So if a person shares a product on his social media, I will believe that it's good. And digital print can assist with that. More than that, we have security solutions so you can have brand protection and make sure that what the brand puts as a message out there is the real one. And then lastly, it's scrutiny. Basically, every dollar that the brand is spending, they want to see almost an immediate return on investment. And with our set of capabilities, in reality, you don't need to change the product. You change the label and you can increase your return on investment with social engagement, with personalization, with one of a kind, with uniqueness. And I think that this change is coming through, and this is how digital print can overcome what analog print can offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And complementing, building on your explanation, Guy, what we've seen that is that brands, taking advantage of this opportunity for the reemergence of the physical experience, are the ones performing better. I don't know if our audience today knows who the Lions are, but they are kind of the Oscars of the marketing campaigns of advertising, right? So they created this research which is called the Lions Effectiveness Code, where they analyze the last 10 years of winning marketing campaigns. So what you can see here on the left side is the average media mix of a brand today, where brands are investing today in terms of media. So online video, TV, social media, which I think it's not a surprise for any of us. But on the other hand, what you can see here on the right side of the slide, it's the effectiveness. And when it comes to effectiveness, the physical experience, becomes the second most effective media for a brand, meaning that a brand's embedding packaging as part of their media mix, packaging, or any other type of physical experience or printed materials, are performing better, are improving their marketing effectiveness. And this is something that we are trying to educate marketers, because then their thinking and their mindset changes. So then the comparison, it's not the cost of this label or this flexible pack, printed in digital versus analog, is against the money that they are investing on social media, TV or other channels. And then imagine the weight of the incremental cost of digital print, in case that happen, is 0.0 something in their entire P&L. And then the conversation again changes, and it's about the value and the return on investment that they can get using this technology.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really compelling, actually, isn't it? So number two, physical. So obviously that's where print is literally.
Yeah.
Brands, even with this research that you have here, and this is like you say, the Lions is the Oscars, the Cannes Lion event is an incredible advertising kind of celebration of creativity, isn't it? But it's underpinned a lot by the trends and proven stuff. So the slide on the right, most effective channels, physical's number two, but still brands aren't fully exploiting that, no? That's
Exactly. Still the awareness, and that's why I think that your first question today was absolutely right. There's a lack of awareness, especially when it comes to marketers or brand decision makers. So that's why I think a team like ours, brands and agencies innovation, it's so important, and it's actually quite unique in the industry, because we need to educate marketers and brand decision makers about the power of digital print.
yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, let's move a bit on to sort of HP digital print, because I think you have, though, you mentioned advantages there, and I think a lot of it is intelligence mixed with capability. What came through a bit in what you were just saying there, Guy, is that the brand needs to think, they do think about journey, but they need to think of it slightly differently now because of Gen Z and millennials. That's incredible, isn't it? And an exciting opportunity. I'm not a Gen Z or a millennial, but I think, that's the secret sauce, being able to think and go through that journey. So HP digital print technology is a huge enabler. How does it accelerate perhaps supply chain efficiencies and consumer engagement?
Yeah, so what we've done, Marcus, is that we've created this adoption journey for brands on how they can accelerate not only their sustainability journey, but also their marketing effectiveness. And I would say that our role here is to move brands away from step one and more into step two and step three, because step one is what everybody knows about digital print. It's cheaper, faster, and more efficient for short runs. Okay, so this is about supply chain efficiencies.
That's the
Then
basic.
they need,
Yeah.
exactly, that's the basics.
Yeah.
And to be honest, for that, HP don't need me, because this is
Saying
just a
that
math
15 years ago,
exercise, and exactly. But brands also need to know that the more they print digitally, the faster they'll reach their sustainability goals. Okay, they'll reduce their packaging waste, they can lower the global warming impact, they can use, sustainable, recyclable, biodegradable, compostable substrates, materials, and so on. So this is also, of course, an advantage. And today, I can tell you that brands and marketers also have a very aggressive objectives when it comes to, sustainability. But then the third point is how we can use the technology, how we can use personalization as a way to grow their business, to engage in a more relevant way with their consumers. And I think we will focus the rest of our presentation, showcasing case studies, success stories, and how we are doing this with brands. And of course, as you can see in the bottom, some brands start small and then they grow and they develop. Some others jump into the three pillars, depending on how hungry they are on innovation. But of course, this is a very good roadmap on how they can adopt the technology.
Yeah, and that's like you say, from step one through to step three, it then becomes incredibly powerful, doesn't it? It's on an emotional level, practical one, but also sustainability and social impact. It starts feeling like it's not about just persuading people to buy product. It's actually got much more value beyond that, much more, which is exciting, isn't it?
Absolutely, Marcus. And I would say that, for a brand product innovation, take a lot of time, take a lot of resources behind it. And through this technology, HP digital print and Smart Stream Designer that we will talk about it, our promise is 1 month idea to market. So we can provide a way to achieve a commercial innovation in an unbelievable timing, which is 1 month or even less.
Yeah, and you can see the advantage, first mover advantage, and also sort of just a 5% advantage is huge across a massive supply chain and a marketplace. So
Mhm.
yeah, if I was brand listening to this, I want to get started pretty quickly, really. You've mentioned, I think we've seen huge creativity from HP in the past, and with campaigns around sort of personalization, which is obviously still a buzzword and massive thing, really. And why is personalization considered a mega trend in today's market landscape? Why is that?
Yeah, so we wanted to become subject matter experts on this mega trend, Marcus, because yeah, we're seeing that personalization is starting to be everywhere. So we did a research analyzing 50 million conversations in social media, okay, to understand this megatrend. And we discovered some great facts, like the ones that you can hear. The first one is the 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 personalized items in the marketplace. This marketplace is massive, 201 billions, and most importantly, growing at 50%, especially after the COVID-19, after the pandemic. Uh, Almost half of the consumers are switching to brands offering personalized experiences, and the younger they are, the more they want them. This is linked to Guy's comment before. So millennials and Gen Z want this type of experiences, and 70% of shoppers are willing to pay more for a personalized item because it has, a more intrinsic value for them. So again, it's about value, pricing power, and so on and so forth. And in the next slide, you'll see that this is something that we are seeing in every single industry, either home goods, automotive toys and games, beauty, food and beverage, CPG, consumer health, doesn't matter. So this is a trend that we are seeing in every single industry. And I think, Guy, probably you can complement this with an example of a brand using personalization and the value that brought to that brand.
Yes, definitely. Well, actually, personalization is, you remember a decade ago, we did the Coca-Cola campaign, the Share a Coke campaign with the names. So people could go to the supermarket, find their names. In this decade, Coca-Cola done, I don't know how many other campaigns, but when they analyzed their campaigns, they found out that this Share a Coke campaign was the most successful one they've done in the last decade. And that's why they re-released it now. So now you have another Share a Coke campaign, version 2.0. So you can see that personalization, even when a decade passed, it's still the number one thing that people really love. Now, why is this also returning on investment? Because look at this. This is a jar of Mermite, right? You can go to the store and buy a jar of Mermite for 360 pounds. But if you just change the label and you don't change the jar, you don't change the quantity, you don't change the supply chain, just the label, suddenly like magic, you can purchase it in 12 pounds. And people are willing to pay for that because they can take a picture with it, they can share it, they can gift it, they can do a lot of things with that. And that is exactly the ROI that the brand is seeing from the print perspective.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting as well. I was just thinking while you're saying that, Marmite is a fan. I love Marmite, but it's one of those products you either love it or hate it. But I wonder whether the Philippa, I wonder if it decreases the likelihood of people stealing Philippa's Marmite. You know what I mean? It's like you feel guilty, wouldn't you? If it's got her name on it. But yeah, it's being silly. But yeah, it's economic, isn't it? Like you just said, not only is it a fantastic way for Philippa to feel warm and fantastic about that possibility, it also means actually Philippa or somebody buying a present for Philippa is prepared to pay a huge amount of money for the pleasure of having it. It's economic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And let me give you another economic benefit, actually. I don't know how many facings, Marmite usually have on the shelf in store. But in the moment that you personalize packs and you explain story through different packs, so I'm sure that the retailer will put more facing and and the brand will increase visibility on the shelf. And the more you see a product, the more chances you have to buy it. And
Mm.
sometimes you even have to pay for this space on the shelf as a brand.
Mm.
So
Also,
again,
uh,
it's about
yeah.
value creation.
Also, what's so powerful about that as well, isn't it? It's the, and I don't know how you gauge that, but I remember the share and Coke stuff. People talked about it. All my friends talked about it. The word of mouth is so
Hmm.
powerful, isn't it?
It
Hugely,
is.
yeah, yeah, exciting
Yeah.
stuff. Exciting.
When would you expect to be gifted a, a bottle of Coca-Cola? But when you have your name on it, it's a legitimate gift.
Yeah, yeah, it's a legitimate gift and something that you'll keep for longer. You'll talk about far more. You'll share it, and so yeah, very clever stuff and exciting, and could be deployed in lots of different ways. So yeah, just following on personalization, really. How can these brands successfully actually integrate customization? This is where it's beyond my technical capability, but how can they integrate customization, personalization, and perhaps personalized storytelling at a scale using print? I would imagine with the Share a Coke campaign, the hope was that people would do that, and the hope was that people would talk about it. I mean, they did, but how can brands really, I guess, successfully know that when they start the process, that this is going to have the impact at scale? And I guess the key word is storytelling at scale, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So I think your question has two parts. So the first part is the how. I mean, how do we enable this? And I'll explain this in a second. The second part is the benefit, which I think we already talked about, but the brands see what the other brands do and they want to do something better. And we
Mm.
see it day in and day out. And this is why personalization today is not um, it's not a commodity, it's a necessity. Most of the brands are now trying to do personalization. You can see all of these print-on-demand e-commerce platforms that allow you to do your own customization for everything that you want, right? Personalization is an essential. But also the FMCG ones want to do campaigns. Maybe they can't do it personalized. I mean, if you're doing Heineken bottles, you can do a personalized one, but you also want to give the feeling of uniqueness or one of a kind, and you go towards customization. And again, if we return to the first question on how we do that, then basically we at HP, or what I do in the Creativity Power Pack, we develop these tools that allow the brands to really change how they're storytelling. And now the Creativity Power Pack actually consists of two elements. It's a plugin for Adobe InDesign and Illustrator, as you can see here, called HP Smart Stream Designer. And then the second one is once you finish designing on your local computer and you want to print it at scale, we have a tool called Composer that knows how to take this template and generate millions of PDFs out of it. But let's talk about SmartStream Designer. Now, SmartStream Designer, I divided it into four different pillars. The first one is basic variable data printing. Share a code, right? You can change the text, the images, put barcodes, whatever you want. The creative tools is where we shine. These are patented tools for HP that can do crazy customization capabilities. And I'm sure Abel will show also a few examples, and I will show some examples in the end. But basically, you can do almost whatever you want creatively. We have security features, as I mentioned, brand protection, either entry level brand protection, or if you want security, real security, we are also working with the leading partners in this world. And lastly, you can even put this into your existing workflows. If you want to streamline it, to add it to an e-commerce, everything can be done. Now, the beauty of Smart Stream Designer is the fact that you don't have to use the pillar as is. You can always combine text with mosaic, with a different QR code, with a brand protection element. You can create your own constellation. One more great thing is that the fact that we are press agnostic. Oh, sorry, we are press agnostic. It means that we can print on anything that HP allows us to print on. right? We can print photos, security, folding cartons, flexible packaging, general GCP, anything that you want, really. So the fact is that brands understand that even if they're doing their Coca-Cola bottles, they can also personalize or customize their points of sales. They can customize their visuals on the street. Anything that they can imagine can be done.
Yeah. So it's you've done a lot of the hard work to take the complexity out of it, right? So that it enables people to kind of, I imagine, different versions, different regions, different seasons, different times of the year, different, but looking at Europe, it's a patchwork of different cultures and different rules and different celebrations and different holidays, so I can just see it being deployed. A football game suddenly is relevant in, I won't mention Barcelona and Madrid, but not sensitive, but you know what I mean. You're not gonna sell much, I wouldn't have thought, Real Madrid stuff in Barcelona and the other way around. And so you can be very sort of granular and clever and thought through without it causing too much disruption, right?
Absolutely. And actually, this is what you can see in the next slide. And the first, this is how I translate what Guy explained into the language of brand owners on how they can bring personalized storytelling at scale. And what you're mentioning right now, Marcus, it's about a strategic production. So in the same print run, they can target the algorithm of Smart Stream Designer to create, an occasion marketing campaign, a retailer-specific marketing campaign, what you were saying, a geolocalized campaign within a country, within a region, whatever is strategically relevant for them. So the next level is also that they can randomize production. So just with one seed pattern, we can create thousands of variations. Then they can elevate that to what we call hyper customization. And here the limit is your imagination. Here in this case with Ecuador, we elevated a piece of art of an artist in Denmark into 3.2 million variations of this label with the signature of the artist and individually numbered from 1 to 3.2 million. So everybody wanted to have, one of these unique bottles of this artist, famous artist in Denmark. But then, most importantly, you can co-create. And this is a word that we love here at HP, which is when you can involve consumers in the storytelling of a brand. So this is a book. It's called, I don't know if you know this platform, Marcus, called Tasty. So they are kind of an Instagram or Facebook for foodies. Okay, so recipes, advices, and so on. So as you can see here, not only the front page of that book is personalized with the name, but also the content is personalized. If I know that you, Marcus, you like recipes, I don't know, with strawberry, cinnamon, cheese, chocolate, whatever, because I know what you liked and what you shared in this platform throughout the year, the content of that book will be personalized for you and will be different than the one from Guy. So this ability, and this is important, this ability to bring content from social media, from an Excel file, from a CRM, SAP, whatever the database is, and connect this with the design or the technology is unique to HP thanks to the software Smart Stream Designer. And then, of course, last level, we have a lot of smart packaging and publishing solutions to connect, to interact with consumers, to track and trace products, to create anti-counterfeiting solutions. But I think I will cover this later on.
That's important. The last one, I know we're talking much, I'm getting excited about creativity and granular and everything else. This is super important still, isn't it? Sort of avoiding problematic things with counterfeit and so on. That smart technology really gets around that and helps brand protect and also helps consumers trust what they're buying is what they're
Absolutely. Yeah. So in the end, it's not about just the technology, as I was saying, and how beautiful the press is and how fast they are, but it's about what they can do with that and how that can, help them increase their business through all of these.
Also, trust, I think, is the thing, isn't it? That this kind of thought and creativity. I love the example you were just saying about the Hasty Junior, that personalized cookbooks, and that is that just builds a relationship. It builds a relationship that probably last. And that's business wise. You want to build relationships that last, right? That last.
Absolutely. Yeah, and actually, as part of this research that I mentioned before, analyzing 50 million conversations of social media, Marcus, we discovered that there are 6 top emotional drivers of why a human being wants to interact with something that is physical, but at the same time is personalized. And these are drivers that brands can activate in their marketing campaigns. So I'm going to go through examples, a few of them, but you'll understand very quickly how it works. But in the end, it helps us to inspire brands, to inspire agencies on how to use personalization, to solve their brand challenges. So we put technology at the service of their brand challenges. So let me start with the one in the top left, the emotional driver that we call mindful materialism, because the insight behind this territory is that it's our own responsibility to make the world a better place to live in. Probably a lot of people knows this campaign, this brand, Hershey's. This is a chocolate brand, quite well known in the Americas, for example, growing a lot in Europe as well. So they came to us with a challenge that was, we want to launch a gender equality campaign in Brazil. Okay, so we, in partnership with them and with their agency and with one of our services, which is the HP Garage Innovation Workshop, we co-created this campaign that is called Her for She. As you can see, by splitting the brand between her and she, you can have her songs, her poems, her music, or she sings, she writes, she dreams, whatever the case might be. But in the end, every single pack is celebrating women through unique designs. And not only that, through unique QR codes, you can access to stories of women in Brazil, inspiring newer generations of women to drive change. Okay, so in the end, again, this is not personalizing for the sake of personalized. This is putting personalization at the service of a brand challenge, or to have social impact. This is not just part of their offline strategy. This is connected with their YouTube channel, driving traffic, generating earned media, because women will share, those packs in social media as well. So this is, again, building value and differentiation through personalization and activating purpose through personalization. Very easy driver to understand, flying your flag. We feel pride when we are recognized as part of a community. And you mentioned football, and this is a great example. You see this campaign with Cadbury. Everything started with Liverpool. Today we are printing the top 10 teams of the Premier League. And again, very simple way. Every single tablet is unique, randomizing different assets in a very easy way through Smart Stream Designer, as you can see here. But most importantly, again, about value. This is in the bottom left, this is a screenshot of eBay 1 month ago. You can find those tablets at almost £100, which is 50 times its cost on the shelf. So because it's becoming a collectible item, it's becoming something that, consumers love, and increasing consumer engagement. Next one, I love bringing bonds to life, is the territory of gifting. Of course, the more personalized is a gift, the more we show others how much we care, right? So this is a campaign that we, created with Toblerone in the UK with different quirks, okay? So amazing. So you can choose, you can buy your brand and choose the quirk that identify, I don't know, whoever you love. In the same way that we can create unique designs, we can create unique QR codes. And I love how this brand use that to connect people in a personalized but also in an emotional way. We will play the video, it's in Spanish, but I think you'll understand the dynamic. You'll understand the dynamic.
Y única para personalizar eso que quieres decir. Escanea el código QR al reverso e insértale tu propio mensaje. Puedes hacerlo con fotos o videos que ya tengas en tu carrete. Agrégale tu toque especial y haz de ese regalo un momento único. Quizzes Inbox, la nueva línea de quizzes para demostrar eso que sientes a tu manera.
So you buy a product, you scan the unique QR code, you upload or record a video of yourself, you send it to your wife, friend, whoever, and he or she is the only one able to watch this video because the QR code is unique and linked to a unique landing page, which is really, really easy to execute. And I think this is an amazing example. And next one, of course, they are launching this for social occasions, for Mom's Day, Valentine's, and so on, to keep the campaign always on, and this is performing amazingly. And I think next is my last example. Milka Leo. Look, Milka Leo is the main competitor of Kit Kat, okay? And their positioning in Belgium, where they are the absolute leader, is quite similar. Okay, take a break, take a Milka Leo. So we named this activity Milka Leo Color Your Break. Okay, so you can go to this website, you choose one of the designs, the design you like from one of the 12 designers and influencers in Belgium that they hire for this campaign. You color it, as you can see here, I'm coloring this design. Of course, the color palette here is decided by the brand. So no, the colors that fit their brand. You will not find here the Nestle red, of course, because it's the color of their uh, competition. And 30% of this design is pre-colored with a Milka purple, or what they call the Milka lilac. Of course, to protect and to maintain their brand equity. So once I finish coloring this design, I'll put my social media handle here, Abel SHM. This is my Instagram. I accept, and then in 3 seconds, as you'll see, this is real speed. A PDF, high resolution, ready to print, is generated and traveling to the print service provider to print that job.
Incredible.
So imagine people looking for their own design across Belgium, and the word of mouth, as you mentioned, and the earned media that generated because people were tagging their friends when they saw their design on the shelf was amazing. Because as you can see at the bottom, it's not only my design, but it also appears my name on pack. So yeah, I think that was a great campaign as well. And this is my last example because, before I let Guy explode the mind of our audience today.
Really good. And I think like you said, it's the consumers creating the product, so actually participating. It's where the experience goes on an entirely different level, doesn't it? It's that sort of I've created this, I've worked, it's got collaborative almost, and very, very clever. And it's I guess it's about having that space to create and to think about the possibilities and to let that creativity flow, because the barriers are down now. You're enabling this, so it's exciting. And I guess like with any idea and innovation, a word that's inherently connected, I guess, is spark, isn't it? That sense of having an idea, sparking the idea, and then flowing with the idea. And so often I think ideas stop because things seem too difficult, complex, maybe expensive, nice idea, but can't quite do it. So I think what you're doing here is helping. So you're not just it's possible, you're actually helping them. So it's really, really, really exciting. So tell us a bit about this Spark technology, because this is actually something really quite exciting and clever, and it's not just about creativity, it's about helping supply chain and security to improve. I guess that brand agility, and agility is another word that's super important right now, being able to move quickly and solve problems quickly, really to ensure an amazing consumer's experience. Yeah, might you be able to sort of explain how HP Spark technology really does that? Is that more your sort of?
I'd love that. I'd love that. Well, to be honest, you said all the right words, because agility is the name of the game, and digital is digital, right? So as Abel said, most people do not know what digital print is. Now, when we show them these capabilities, their minds are blown because they never expect that we ingest technology in such a fast form. Today, we can do almost anything we want with print. Now, more than that, imagine the creative capabilities of the software. But of course, our presses also allow you a uniqueness, and they allow you agility. So you can print whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, in whatever quantity you want. So it really allows the brand to be as agile as they want. And you can see through the requests from the brand the amount of flexibility and agility we give them. So HP Spark is a new addition. Well, it's actually the real opportunities in creative printing. HP Spark is an addition to the existing creative tools that we have, right? We have HP Mosaic and HP Collage and HP Frames and HP Spine Printing and Edge Printing, tons of different solutions, but all of them are mostly, let's say, quarantined. You can change parameters, and with these parameters, you can design things. With HP Spark, we allow the user to insert external code, open source code that is called P5.js, a JavaScript library, into the variable data software. So with that, you can create real generative art, build your own security solutions that you own the IP to. You can change the logic or even change supply chain. You can create graphs and charts. You can create interactivity. You can make your designs easier, but you can also insert artificial intelligence, machine learning. And of course, there are a lot of examples. I don't want to take all the time. So I'll just share a few of these, of course, with the help of Abel. So let's talk about generative art. Generative art is basically the ability to generate the art with code. Imagine mosaic. If you want to do mosaic, a designer needs to create a seed pattern. With generative art, you don't need that. Basically, you can see all of these different lines are simply generated by a piece of code. Now, we also understand that not everybody are coders. So we know how to take the variables of the code and translate them into a user interface. So you can change the direction speed, the alpha of the circle, the radius, etc. And once you define these parameters, basically you can print them as many times as you want on whatever you want. Now imagine that this is simply a piece of code. Today, I can even go to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude, write a P5.js script for me that does whatever it is you want it to do and insert it into HP Spark to create variable data out of it. So really the immensity of it is quite incredible.
Yeah.
Another thing, yeah, sorry, do you have a question?
It's really, really clever, isn't it? So you'll enable the creator to play with lots of different images and so on, and it formats it for you. You know what I mean? You don't have to do a lot of pre-work. It just, oh, have a look at that idea, don't like it, change it. It's quite super quick. Yeah.
It's exactly that. You have immediate gratification, right? You know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Now, look at this example. This is a brand that sells cannabis in flexible packaging. They wanted to create a security element, but in a creative way. So what they did is they took the brand equity, the different logos and symbolism of the brand, and with HP Spark, they started creating endless emblems. Each one of them is unique, different color, different quadrant color, and it's just shifting around. Then they connected it with a smart packaging solution with our partners called Procure. So basically, once you scan the QR code, oh, sorry, let me play this. Once you scan the QR on the package itself, you can authenticate the right quadrant or the right what we call kind of like a sigil. You can authenticate it, and then two things happen. On the brand side, the brand has a track and trace solution. They can see how many times this code was scanned, where it was scanned, if it was a successful scan, etc. On the user side, they get, because we know where they are, they get a unique customer journey. We can change the language, we can change the currency, we can change what we offer to this consumer, and basically you can define it as much as you want with the help of external code. Another great capability of HP Spark is logic, and Abel can explain what this brand is.
Yeah, but very quickly, this is a water brand in Lithuania. Okay, I mean, not every brand is a Coca-Cola of the world, you know. So we also work with smaller brands, and this is one of the beauties of the technology. So they wanted to celebrate their 100th anniversary in Lithuania. So we created Guy helped them create 100,000 unique designs. Okay, as you can see here in the back of the bottle, they celebrate the 100th anniversary through different characters and people. So it's a kind of diversity and inclusion campaign as well. And in the front of the bottle, what you can see is different reasons to do a toast with this water. This is not the normal thing that you do to do a toast with water, but they are so unique. They contain, this is the brand with the biggest quantity of minerals, and actually the taste is really different, that they wanted to celebrate their uniqueness through that campaign. But I think the most important thing here is the logic behind it, and I think you can explain that much better.
Yeah. Well, it's nature's champagne, really. It tastes really different. It doesn't taste like water, but it is full of minerals, and then you can toast with it because this is the real water. Now, as I mentioned, the brands always have requests, but with our set of capabilities, they can really define whatever they want. So, for example, here they have different characters, right? They have the initial faces, but then they want different hairstyles, and they have colors for that. But then they have exceptions, please don't put a blonde hair on a yellow background. Please don't put gray hair or on a pink or orange background. Really, you have tons and tons, and this is just an excerpt of the exceptions that they requested. But with the help of code, we can actually, while we generate all of these variable elements, make sure that all of the requests that they have, we will be able to put them on the bottles. This amount of flexibility is crucial to a brand. They can really celebrate how they want to celebrate. Now, more than that, Abel showed you this amazing campaign with Cadbury. But there's one thing that we didn't really anticipate, and to be honest, we didn't expect, because this campaign started for Liverpool only. But then they decided, because it was so successful, to release it to the 10 top Premier League teams. But then when they went to the retailer stopped them. And they told them, we understand the idea behind it. But we, as a retailer, we don't want to be stuck with leftovers, because Arsenal has many fans and Liverpool have many fans, but Birmingham and West Brom have less fans. So we want different quantities of these teams, because to the retailer, it's the same SKU. So what they ask the brand to do is to build a box of mix of these 4 clubs. So the brand, what can they do is they need to go to a co-packer, send all the chocolates there, they pack it, and then they send it to the retailer, which takes time and it costs money. But what we told them is, wait, we have HP Spark. With our coding capabilities, if you give us the supply chain needs, we can print the right sequence right out of the press that will fit your finishing line, so you can make the co-packer redundant. You print what you need in the right quantity, pack it, put it in a box, and send to the retailer. This is something, again, we didn't expect it, but this is something that today we do more and more. We change supply chain with the help of the design features. That's quite unbelievable.
It is, isn't it? And so therefore you're really optimizing sales versus production. Really optimal. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely.
Out of interest, I don't know if you know this, but I guess, like you said, like Man United, the spread of support, the support base is quite wide and all over the place, right? Whereas I guess you mentioned West Brom, the support base is much more local, I would imagine. So I guess that's where the value really happens, is that they can just target where they know their people are, right?
Yeah, definitely. And you remember Abel showed you the campaign with Toblerone, where they printed the different quirks, right? Toblerone understood that more people would be a dog lover than they would be a sleep talker. And they also asked us, please give us different quantities of these in the packages of 10 that we sell. So with our logic capabilities, we also defined the different quantities, and we made sure that no 2 quirks will be in the same package of 10. This is something that no other vendor can do today, as much as I understand.
Yeah, very clever. And sounds like, yeah, it would have been impossible without that. Impossible. It's fantastic. It's just making it easy to be very sort of intelligent with your production and where it goes and to whom, and also, like you say, not having duplicates, which kind of is important, right? When we're talking about
Correct.
that things.
Yeah.
Yeah, really exciting. And I guess that sort of
Well,
moving.
I have some more examples if you don't mind. I will give Abel the ability to speak about this beautiful campaign. This is actually shows the interactivity capabilities of HP Spark, and it's a brand called Brute Wine.
Yeah, so actually, again, we try to solve strategic challenges, Marcus. So when a brand approach me, it's not about, I want to improve my packaging or something like this. So, for example, this brand, Brut, they are a winery in Germany. Okay, and the challenge, the brief they gave us was, consumers' perception about the wine in Germany is that it's not as good as the one, I don't know, in Italy or Spain, because the climate conditions are not the same. We have less hours of sun and so on and so forth. So this is the platform that we help them build. The art, this art that you could see here was evolving around their bottle of wine based on the wind, the rain, the temperature, and the sun conditions. And every time you purchase one of these bottles, you'll receive it, wrapped with this specific moment in time and with a label, specifying this wind, rain, and sun conditions. So we turn their pain point into, a celebration. Even though we have these conditions, we are able to create such an amazing wine. And I think this is amazing, and this is the strategic challenge that we love to solve.
Yeah,
Now, we also talked about artificial intelligence, and I just want to end with what we do with artificial intelligence. Now, we actually collaborate with different companies. For example, one of the companies we work with is called Astria, which allows you to create faces, right? You can create models of faces. This is my daughter, Yara, and I can take Yara and instead of dragging her for a bat mitzvah book, I can create online whatever I want. She can travel the world. She can be whatever character she wants. And basically, I can order a photo album or posters or whatever I want with her face on it. But I can also do it at scale. I can do it to her entire class. I can do it to the entire event. We did this in Dscoop and allow all the participants to select what they want to be and to go home with posters of what they want to be. Now, also, Abel showed the Her for She campaigns. This is not a real product. This is just a mock-up. But imagine that I can create an e-commerce platform and allow Yara or the women important in my life, my wife, my mother, my daughters, to select their picture, and I can celebrate their uniqueness on a Her for She package. This is a reality. You don't need a lot to do besides that. The second thing that we do is we work a lot with different brands, right? And it's easy for us to show the capabilities of these brands, right? With Nutella, we are doing campaigns, and Abel can talk a lot about this because he kind of orchestrated most of them. We are doing year over year beautiful things. Abel, do you want to say something?
Just the only comment I would make is that this is one of the brands that has understood the power of digital print. So, and every year they activate, personalization through different campaigns. You can see here amazing ones. Let me just highlight two, conscious of time, but Gemella Twins, Nutella Gemella, what you can see at the bottom left. So instead of one-of-a-kind designs, we created two-of-a-kind designs to connect people when they needed to socialize the most when during the pandemic, when we were locked down at home. Or Nutella Conte last year, celebrating positive events happening throughout all the years that they've been together with the Italians. As you can see, the chart, for example, of 1969 is celebrating that men reached the moon. But not only that, if you scan this chart, you can access to a Spotify playlist with the top hits of that specific year. And of course, these are different of the one from 1975 or 1980. So again, it's about consumer engagement. It's about phygital experiences, not just the pack, but also connected with, your other senses, in that case, music. And again, this is amazing. These are the type of campaigns that we want more brands to embrace.
Yeah, so actually, we have added this slide because Nutella, as Abel said, they understand the power of digital. And last year they approached us and they said, we are looking for a way to add artificial intelligence on our jars. Now, artificial intelligence, and most of us know, are using images that are scraped from the internet. So basically, a brand can't really use the images because they do not have the legal rights to them. And Nutella came to us and asked, do you have a solution of how we can add AI images to our jars? And basically, we do have, because we are working with another company called Bria. And Bria actually solves the safety, privacy, and legality of AI images. They are training their models with licensed dataset. They are keeping your safety and privacy intact, again, unless the brand allows it to. They also have an attribution model where every image that is generated, they know which images were used to generate the specific image. And according to the affiliation, they can give attribution. So as you can see, 42 images from Getty Images, they will get the most of the attribution prices. Bria also allows you to have controllability and predictability. So you can make sure that you can generate images that have a reference and will be on brand, right? So it will always be the same bear with the Lidl colors. With these set of capabilities, we could go to Nutella. We could train a model with the Nutella label, where the piece of bread is, where the knife lies, where the glass of milk or hazelnut, then throw a lot of prompts to SmartStream Designer and generate endless variations. As you can see, the elements do not move. They will always stay in place. And then when we actually put the static data on that, we know that it will always be in place. So it will always look like the Nutella jar, right? And with that, we actually printed 9,000 different Nutella jars with artificial intelligence. And it was so successful that we are now debating on how to continue with this forward.
Yeah.
So that's in a nutshell what HP Spark can do. And of course, we were conscious of time, and you can do so much more.
Yeah. And I guess, like you say, it's the challenge then goes back to the brand, to the imagination. And I love that because you can, I don't know if you like impressionist art or you like a different style of art, and you're going to see that, and it's just going to speak to you, isn't it, on a different level. And that's art and music as well. That resonates on a completely different level, doesn't it? Not only is it personalized, it's yeah. The only thing is, people actually want to they actually eat the Nutella, or they keep it and just never eat it. I don't know that. It doesn't really matter. That's not the point in some ways, but yeah,
I'm sure people have collections of Nutella jars.
Yeah.
I know personally people who have Coca-Cola bottles collections. So they keep the different labels, and it's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's understandable because it's you wouldn't want to. You'd want to keep at least a jar maybe at the end. Yeah. Clearly, I can see this is effective, and I can understand. I can see how powerful this can be, and I guess it's always important, isn't it, to have numbers to back this up. So what are the effectiveness really in terms of numbers for these kind of campaigns? How effective are digital print campaigns based on this? Are there any insights out there? I think you've mentioned before WARP research.
Yes, absolutely, Marcus. Now we can prove that. Now we can prove that effectiveness. So WARC, it's a company, they stand for the World Advertising Research Company. They have a very robust database of marketing campaigns. So we asked them to go back 5 years in time, and they found more than 9,000 campaigns that they had analyzed. So of course, my next question was, how many of them are using packaging as a lead media and personalization, user-generated content, and all of these type of campaigns like the ones that we've shared today? And they found close to 500. And this is the comparison that you can see here. Those brands, giving a voice to their consumers, using personalization as part of their media mix and so on and so forth, are driving twice as good ROI as any other type of marketing campaign. Not only that, which is what we call the hard metrics, but when you look at the soft metrics, meaning brand equity, PR value, word of mouth, and so on and so forth, 70% of those campaigns are helping to brand building. And last but not least, when we looked at the creative strategies behind those campaigns, co-creation and personalization and user-generated content were king. So again, this is the type of results that a brand can expect by, embedding these type of solutions that we are trying to share today.
Exciting. And I guess that co-creation is king, where you're participating in creating your product with the brand, with a brand you love, or one that you're interested in, but over time will end up. And I guess what this does as well, once brands start this, it sets them on a path, right? And it gets more and more of a commitment that they have to make because
Absolutely. Nutella is a great example of that. Or
yeah,
Coca-Cola relaunching the Share a Coke campaign today. So
yeah. That and people remember, right? You just don't forget it. And in this very, very busy, confused world, that's gold, isn't it? So some of the people listening to this may be like, wow, this is really exciting. I just didn't know. I just didn't know that this even existed, perhaps. And it just sort of giving us maybe sort of time to wrap up a little bit. What kind of somebody's thinking about this and now inspired by it and thinks, how do I even start? So what are your kind of recommendations for brand and agencies looking to perhaps begin their journey with digital printing innovation or looking to leverage digital printing for maximum impact? What kind of advice recommendations might you give them?
Yeah, so I would say we've created this platform, this process, okay, to create and to help brands to execute these type of campaigns. The step one would be, it's similar to what we've seen today. It's about educating them on the power of HP digital print, on the possibilities of the benefits, and inspire them with a lot of case studies, of course, personalized to their industry, competition, and so on and so forth. If they see this relevant, we move to the second step, which is the other way around. They educate us on their challenges, their marketing strategy, their pain points, opportunities, okay? Once we understand that, we move to the third step, which is the HP Garage Innovation Workshop, okay? So we create this experience, and this is an amazing experience. We've done this with many, many brands, many campaigns over the years. And in 1 day and a half through this experience, we go from this specific challenge that they might have to concept, to solution, to printing real prototypes in 24 hours. So the output of this experience are not just ideas on a PowerPoint, are real prototypes being printed. Okay, so again, it's a fast track of innovation. And then, of course, in steps 4 and 5, we support them on the execution. If they want to look for sustainable materials, if our print service providers struggle to create thousands or millions of variations. So we will involve whoever is needed within HP Industrial to make sure that the execution is the one that the brand deserves. So this is not just, a workshop, the HP Garage. This is about a marketing consultancy service from education to ideation to execution. And sometimes it takes 4 weeks, sometimes it takes 3 weeks, sometimes it takes 6 months, depending on, the bureaucracy and the processes of the company. But in the end, it's a process that is helping us to fast track innovation, commercial innovation for brands. My last advice to wrap up and answering your question, Marcus, would be I encourage brands and agencies to contact with us to co-create this type of campaigns together. In the end, my only objective, our only objective as a brand and in an agency's innovation team is to look for what I called a quadruple win. So the brand will be innovating, their agency will be having more projects with them. Our customers, the print service providers, will be printing more, and we will be printing more. So in the end of the day, everybody will be happy. So I encourage everybody to contact with us.
Yeah, and that's important, isn't it? Because what you're showing there is a proven path, isn't it? You've done this many times, and some of the examples you've shown, actually, you're probably going to expedite even more because you've learned and created this by working with some of these very famous brands, right? So it's reassuring, I would imagine, going through this process. Is there any sort of thoughts, perhaps, Guy, you might want to share before we sort of complete this?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, as Abel said, and I think you said it as well. You know, people who hear this may not even know that these things exist, really, because I think that the HP universe is so vast, and we have so many different stars. We have software solutions, we have the presses, we have inks, we have medias, we have sustainability, we have security, we have tons and tons of different stars. And I think that a brand, if they want to make something memorable, and something that changes, they need to build their own constellation. They need to select the stars and put it in the right order to generate something that we've never seen before. Now we know some constellation, and that's what we presented in this deck, the things that we succeeded with, but there are vast universe and more constellations to explore, and that's where we need the brands to come and work with us because we will help them build those constellations. And so, as Abel said, we urge them to contact us. We would love to talk to whoever is interested. If they have ideas, if they have requests, we only learn from that and we develop our tools based on their needs. So, as Abel said, it's win all around. So, the end thing is, yeah, please approach us.
Yeah, really exciting. I mean, I've been aware of the work you've done, but not to this level of granularity and how you do it and the possibilities and so on. But yeah, it's very, very fascinating and very inspiring. And yeah, I've really enjoyed learning a bit more about it today. So listen, gentlemen, thanks both for joining us. And I'm sure as time goes by, you're going to have more and more additions and updates and examples and so on. We've managed to capture quite a lot in a short space of time. Been fascinating. And yeah, just to see how we can with your help, these brands can take their storytelling onto entirely higher level, I suppose, really, isn't it? That's ultimately what it is. And all this talk of food, I haven't had breakfast, so I'm going to have to log off now and maybe try and find some Marmite somewhere. But listen, thanks again, gentlemen. Great discussion. Thanks for all your persistence in creating this and work and so on. And yeah, looking forward to seeing more examples in the future. I'll probably notice more and more now when I go to the store. So yeah, all good. Thanks very much.
So,
Thank
thank
you,
you for
Marcus. It's been
inviting
a
us,
pleasure.
Marcus. It's been a pleasure. Really.
Thank you
Awesome.
very much.
Thank
Take care.
you.
See you soon. Bye-bye.